Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Body Mind Monday with Cassandra McAllen. And today we're going to do day 3 of my notes from channeling with Abraham-Hicks. And hopefully you guys can see me today, or I can see you seeing me, which would be more specifically true. So if you are on this live, just drop me a comment. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And unfortunately, if I don't see your comments, I can't comment on them. So here's hoping that I do see you. Okay. So let us begin. These are the notes from Friday, July 12th. And this is also the same day that I got pulled up on stage. Which, by the way, if you've been wondering, I am working on a way to be able to post that in this private group, which I hopefully won't be a problem to do so. So, still working on that, but I think that's how I'll end, is I'll post the notes that I got from them up on stage, which is very exciting. Okay, so let's begin with thoughts turn to things in subtle, incremental ways. Enjoy the process of molding it into space. So I love that because it reminds me of the kind of particle and wave theories that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, right? So we have light and we have mass, or we have wave and we have particle. So just remember that if things aren't manifesting immediately into your space, that you're turning energy into form, and that's going to take some time. And as we've learned, it's going to take you holding that energy of receiving and expecting and accepting and allowing that shift and change, rather than reverting back to the energies that you held when you begin reaching out for something different. Okay. In talking with Esther about why she was able to be such a good channel, one of the things she said was that she had no opinions, thus no resistance. And that fortunately she had Jerry, because Jerry had all the opinions. And I think I mentioned to you before, I've been doing a ton of work in removing belief systems and letting go of my opinions in order to be able to clearly channel information directly without having to filter it like I have in the past through my own egoic mind. Because of course it's like someone tells you something and you're like, is that true? I don't know if that aligns with what I've always thought to be true. And now you've kind of blown the buzz, right? So in order to be a really successful channel, you need to be able to get out of your mind and just receive. And in addition, you also need to have questions. So I do most of my channeling, as you know, for my clients, and am working with someone who can help me by asking me questions so I can post those for you. So I have some of the things I've already channeled about kind of nature of the universe sort of thing, and they've been amazing. And I have audio, and I think I'm either going to put the audio on there, or maybe just some transcripts, or maybe I'll read it to you, and maybe even think about videotaping me channeling next time. So put in the comments if the channeling that I've already done, since it's just audio, if you'd rather listen to it with me live, or if you'd rather have me read it to you, or if you'd rather have me kind of post it in something that could be read or downloaded. And let me know what you think. Okay. All right. So again, Esther no opinions, Jerry questions. Perfect team. Talking about love. We all want it, don't we? The love you are looking for is the alignment with your inner being and source energy. So it's a good reminder that the place that we feel inside that makes us desire and be drawn to feeling loved and to love is really that connection with our higher self, with our source. And that's really what we're looking for. That's what's going to fill us up far more than just another human can. I mean, come on, let's give people a break. They're just peopling. They're just doing the best they can. And being our everything, it's not in alignment. We're our everything. Oh, look, I have comments. Let's see what they are. Working fine today. Yay. Happy to be here. Yay. You think I should channel live? I could do that. I could do that. All of these channeling options are awesome. I would watch and listen to them all. Oh, thanks. Okay, well, let's continue with the even more valuable messages from Abraham. When you are in a mood, you summon how you feel everywhere you go, making you validate your mood and try to control your environment. Sounds like confirmation bias, right? Or self-fulfilling prophecy, two really powerful heuristics of the human mind, which in psychology says basically what you expect to see, you see. If you expect someone to treat you poorly, the only thing you're going to be able to pick up on is the ways in which you feel offended or lessened by whatever they're doing or saying, which is why two people can be involved in the same conversation and both walk away hearing completely different things. So let's remember that when we're in a mood, as Abraham says, that we are summoning literally the energy of that mood negatively everywhere we go. So it's a good reminder that we're indeed responsible for everything that's going on in our lives and around our lives. Then they went on to talk about the difference between the path of least resistance and the path of most allowance. And I thought this was really fascinating because I talked about it being kind of two different things. So what they said was the path of least resistance is number 22 on the emotional guidance scale, all the way to boredom. So here's the emotional guidance scale, which I'm going to hold up for a minute so you can get a screenshot. Sorry for my shaky hands. Okay. So from 22, fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, to boredom, which is 8, is the path of least resistance. So moving up that guidance scale is moving up to less and less resistance to the things that you want. Okay? And then when we get to 7, which is contentment and then hopefulness and moving upward from there, that's what they call the path of most allowance, right? So number 7, and I hope you got a copy of that, put it in the notes if you didn't, and I'll hold it back up again. That is where we really start to manifest. We really start to bring in what it is we want. Calibrate to love, joy, upliftment, ongoing abundance, and well-being. So these are the emotions that we want to actively and intentionally be calibrating to, right? It makes sense. Stop trying to be seen and be convincing to others. Ugh, that's hard. Look at me here doing it right now. Right? Rather, focus on being in alignment with your inner being. Because self-interest is a real thing that we need to have. I thought that was really beautiful. You know, especially for women in patriarchy, we're told that, you know, our roles are to comfort and care and not really to be focused on us, right? Not a lot of women get big kudos for taking care of themselves. They get their kudos for taking care of others. So being reminded for men and women, men whose focus in patriarchy is to protect and provide, that it is okay to be self-interested. It's better than okay. As I've said many, many times, it's what you're here to do. No one is here for anyone else. Okay. Reminding me of the phrase, our lives are always working out for us, or everything is always working out for me. And if you're not already saying that, what are you even doing? Do it. Every morning. Every morning when you wake up, my life is always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. Because you're going to then be in the right mood to call things to work out for you. Make sense? Let's See if there's any more questions since I can see them. It's so exciting. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Exactly. Exactly. Right? If you've got a mindset of something, you're going to look for the problems that relate to it. Okay. Oh, some of the notes that I talked about already, I think in the first live that I got directly from Abraham, in terms of anxiety and catastrophizing thoughts. But you'll get to see it again when I post my video. Savor the details of unfolding. I love that. I love that. That to me means that while it's in process, all these things that you've manifested from the contrast that you've seen in your life, savor them. Look for those micro moments that show you, oh, wow, that's beautiful. That's peaceful. That's joyous. That's helpful. I'm grateful for that. It reminds me of something else they said, which I really used to help me in times of pain or struggle with my health, which is soothing is solving, right? I love that. And this reminds me of that. Savor the unfolding because it's happening. When you are in alignment with your inner being, all your senses are heightened and everything is more pleasurable. There is no guilt in pleasure, people. Do the things that bring you pleasure, whatever those are. Do the things that light you up inside. Do the things that bring you joy. Have fun. We're here to have fun. My guides talk about that all the freaking time. Do the fun things. Do the happy things. Do the things that make you feel grateful. And guess what? You'll attract more. Oh, I made a note here. You're not going to see it in the video. You're not going to see what I saw. But Esther's eyes, when I was sitting in front of her, did not look like Esther's eyes. They did not look like human eyes. I don't think I mentioned this in the first video, but for whatever it's worth, they look like hubcaps. They were silver. And it was very apparent to me that I was looking into her eyes to see a group of beings that were definitely not human. In fact, it was so overwhelming when you see the video. Many times I closed my eyes because I couldn't look at them. I just wanted to absorb the information, but when I looked up into their eyes, it was, what did I write? Overwhelming, delightful, otherworldly, certain, and direct. Esther says she doesn't feel guilty anymore about how much assistance she gets from the universe. Isn't that interesting? How many of you feel guilty for getting assistance? How many of you have felt shameful about how good your life was? Maybe how much money you had, or maybe how great your romance is, or how lucky you are for the friendships you have in your life, or your health, especially when you're talking to somebody who doesn't have these things, right? I think it's natural. We kind of want to downplay some of the wonderful things in our lives. And I love Esther saying that she doesn't do that anymore. And the reason is the higher our vibration rises, the more joy, pleasure, excitement, love, fulfillment, jubilation that we have in our system, the more we're uplifting everyone around us, right? I mean, think about someone you know who, when you talk to them, they make you smile. It doesn't matter if you've had a crappy day. You just feel better by being uplifted just by their presence. Yeah. So no more guilt. No more shame. No more blame. Just light and pleasure. The most delicious thing is turning chaos into clarity. I love that, right? And I think of that as turning wave into particle, turning light into mass, taking energy from this seemingly chaotic universe and taking energy from our seemingly chaotic mind, I'm talking to myself right here, and turning it into clarity. You know, I practice this thing every night when I go to bed, and that is A through Z. I think of a word, that reminds me of being in the vortex. And C, I'm sure there's a lot of words for C, but the one that comes to me every night is always the same, and that is clarity. Because to me, having clarity about what you want, what you desire, what feels good to your soul, that is the hottest thing in the world. Clarity, right? Wouldn't you love it? Wouldn't you love clarity? Oh, and by the way, my eyes got surprise dilated today. So my pupils are huge. I'm not high, I swear. So, clarity. Okay, relax and let yourself go into the more that is becoming. You know, if you ever see me driving around, my license plate says to become, because that's what I believe we're here to do. So relax and let yourself go into the more that is becoming. Oh, I wrote, I still feel high. The energy is pouring off of her in waves. I can see why people forget what they're going to say. A lot of times when they go up, you sit there in the audience, right? And you see somebody raise their hand and get to go up on stage with her. And a lot of times they sit there and they're like, and they're like, you had a question when you raised your hand. So I can see why that happens, because it is quite impactful to be in front of them. Your beliefs are where you last left them. What that makes me think of is that the beliefs that we've set up in our reality tunnels, right? That's kind of what I call it. Esther refers to it as the bag of marbles. The things we carry around with ourselves that tell us what's true, what's not true, what's right, what's wrong. All of these beliefs really are an impediment to growth. Because if you already know it, why are you going to stretch? And if you haven't heard me talk about reality tunnels, you can find it on YouTube. You can find it in the Facebook group. It's some really fascinating information about how we form our realities and how they serve us to make us feel safe because, hey, we already know. We already know what's going on in the world. And how they don't serve us because they keep us from becoming more, right? If you've already become, what is there left to do? So I love that. Beliefs are where you last left them. And as my guides have said to someone I channeled for and to me, beliefs aren't helpful. And when I first heard that channel for someone else, I was like, what do you mean they're not helpful? Everybody has to have beliefs. How could you not have beliefs? Chaos. But I'm learning I don't have to have them. It's crazy. Okay, how long has it been? Oh, I've gone long. Okay, well, that leaves us for the next live, which will be the last day, which was Friday the 13th. So, I don't see how that could be Friday the 13th. Saturday the 13th. Can you speak a little more about how your own take on how to manage catastrophizing thoughts, also managing the sense of the other shoe is going to drop? Okay, so how I've learned to manage my catastrophizing thoughts since this workshop is instead of being around people, because as Abraham pointed out, I'm intuitive, some would call me psychic. So what I tend to do when I'm around people is I pick some of their stuff up, right? Like, ooh, that feels sad, or that feels bad, or that feels hurt or angry. And my intention is always to soothe. But what I was doing was I'd get on a plane and I'd pick the marbles of every single person who was scared to fly. Not helpful. That wasn't helpful. And so instead, now, I see experiences that previously would have needed me to do tapping and EFT and meditation and prayer and work my mala and aromatherapy and all the things, all those excitatory experiences. Now I just feel into them and love them because I no longer pick up anyone else's marbles of fear. And instead, I just send them my marbles of joy. Like, look how much fun we're going to have. Oh my God, we're in the air. Okay, managing the sense of the other shoe is going to drop. So if we're talking about the other shoe is going to drop, that really presupposes that there's a belief in like a line of shoes, right? There is a held belief that things are bad or that they could be bad at any given moment, which really isn't far from the catastrophizing thoughts. Mine may have been just action specific, and someone else who thinks, the other shoe's going to drop is somebody who doesn't like to believe or has not found themselves capable of believing that their life can be magnificent from this point forward. And those moments that we have where life feels not magnificent are simply opportunities for us to redirect our energy in a different way. So I don't believe there's other shoes, right? I believe that life is what I make it every single moment. Some of those moments are going to be, oh, so juicy. And some of those moments are going to be like, so painful. But either way, it's an extraordinary life filled with sensation and opportunity to become more of what you want. So I personally don't believe that there's a bunch of things that are waiting to go wrong if I somehow mismanage my thought work or my emotions or my relationships with anyone else. And that would be my suggestion for anyone who, so many people do, struggle with that. It's kind of parallel to the jinx phenomenon. People don't want to talk about the good things in their lives because they don't want to jinx it, as if there's some powers that be that once they hear you saying, things are really great for me, are going to go, oh, really? How about now? So I think it's something we've been built to believe in. Probably goes back to religion. That would be my guess. But, the exciting thing about us is we always have a choice to reframe and reform ourselves in every given moment, right? Okay. You're not changing. You are the embodiment of the change itself. It's not happening to you. You're making it happen. Let me feel into that. So help me, if you can, Chris, understand, are you speaking to me? Are you speaking to people in general? Are you speaking to, tell me more of what you're speaking to, because I think it's powerful and I want to comment on that. Oh, good. I'm glad that was helpful. So it's not happening to you. You're making it happen. Yes, right? That speaks to really powerful reframing. When we say I have to, we reframe it to I get to. And life isn't happening to us. We're happening to life. So perhaps that is what you are speaking to. But I don't know. You're not changing. I am changing. So, but I think that maybe you're speaking to that a little differently. But I feel like I'm changing every single frickin' moment. I feel like my DNA is changing. I feel like I'm being given the opportunity to light up every cell in ways that they have just been dormant. So, all right, well, maybe that's enough for today. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for commenting. Yay, I'm not alone. I love you all so very, very much. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Monday. Oh, wait. He's back. He's back. I was commenting on what you said about it all springing from the individual. You are changing, but it isn't from an external source. Yeah, right? Yeah, I think we think of ourselves in kind of the enclosed, restricted mind as being changed by circumstances or external sources. I mean, I can tell you working in healing how many times I've heard people tell me they were sick because of something around them, not because of some way that they thought about their illness. So, yeah, well said. I look different. Do I? I looked at myself today and I thought, gosh, I look really orange and red. And then I looked around myself and I went, yeah, okay, that's why. I love you. I love you all. As always, take care of yourself for me. I'll see you on Monday. Bye.